Hello, everybody. A little more on the bosal or the hackamore. I myself am very particular about the hangers that I use. When I go out and I judge horse shows, like especially on like AQHA shows, in the Western Pleasure and Trail and basically all the all around classes, or what we call the all around classes, I see a lot of people that have invested in a very good bosal, spent a lot of money on it, and then put some kind of a heavy headstall or, with a lot of silver, which stiffens it up and what have you. Well, to me, I would say that is kind of like buying a Dodge Charger and taking four spark plugs out and then, running four cylinders instead of eight cylinders. In other words, you can't limit the effectivity and the purpose and of the performance of a bosal and expect the same outcome. It just doesn't work that way. And another thing we got to keep in mind when we talk about hangers is the higher up on the bosal that the point of fulcrum is, the faster the release will be. And most horsemen will agree with me that a horse does not learn from just pressure. A horse learns from the release from pressure. So anyway, if we take a look at this here hackamore, the shorter the nose button, the higher up the hanger will be, and the faster the release will be. So with that in mind, I am very particular about my hangers, and I want them to be in a way that they don't limit the action of my bosal. Here we have a very traditional hanger. It's just a piece of Latigo, and it's got the snake braid or slip braid on here, or blunt knots, whatever you want to call it. And in no way, shape, or form does this limit the action of my bosal. And as you can see, the release is going pretty fast. Now, you see this loop underneath here. What that is if you do have a short nose button, you might have the hanger being in or too close for some people to the horse's eye. What this little loop here will do is it kind of pulls the hanger away from the horse's eye. Now this one works with a little button, but there are some that you just tie. And if you do have a good hanger on your bosal and you do have a fairly short nose button and it starts to interfere with the horse's eye, then you can just take a piece of string or twine or thong, whatever, tie it underneath the horse's jaw and turn it into what's called, like a jowl string or whatever, just to bring that down a little so it's out of the horse's eye. Now, it's kind of like my glasses. If I put my glasses on, it's got these little things here that, that rest on the bridge of your nose, real close to my eye, but it doesn't bother me. And it's kind of like the same in a lot of ways with the bosal hanger. But there are some people that in their training process want their horse to be able to see them. If they open their hand or if they do whatever, and some of them feel like the hanger cannot be too close to the horse's eye because that may interfere with the interaction they have with their horse. So this is traditional Latigo. Another material that I really like on hangers, especially if you got them a little narrow, is softened rawhide. Softened rawhide is usually just a scraped hide, and it's rolled up kind of like, shape of an ice cream horn or whatever. And you just bang the living crap out of it. And the fibers get broken a little bit and what have you. And then it becomes softened rawhide. It's the gaucho's answer to the cowboy's leather. Let me put it that way real easy. But again, here you can see in no way, shape, or form that hanger is going to limit the action of the bosal. Now, if you do want a lot more of your bosal and you want an even quicker release, and I won't suggest you do that on a horse that's pretty early in this bosal training, at least I wouldn't. But you can go for a center tie. Center tie is just what the word says. It's bosal where the hanger is in the center here. And there are several ways of attaching them to your horse. One is this method where the ears of the horse would be right here. So it kind of hangs over his ears, and then this part comes over, the bridge of his nose, and then goes into the bosal. Now, this has tremendously fast action, and especially release. But I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't recommend this for a horse that's early in its bosal training. And the ones that I have made that way, I think the biggest one is just a half-inch in size. This is a 3/8. And then, of course, you can go real traditional for a center tie, which is this system. Again, center tie, and it's just one long thong of Latigo leather. And you put it on, and you tie it to the horse's forelock. And it's pretty easy. Let's say this is the forelock. What I do is I go around like this, go under one time, go over, go over, go over, and then slip it under, and it stays that way if you do it that way. Or if you do have a horse with little or no forelock, and I've had those horses in the past, you can tie this just to the headstall, because this is a bosalita and it will only get used, at least I only use it, like in a two-rein setup, or if I'm straight up in a bridle, and especially when we're out working the ranch and you're checking on cattle or checking fence or just riding a circle, I will tie a get down, a piece of rope that's about 12, 15 feet, and tie it around the horse's neck with a non-slip knot, and then make it come through this bosalita. So when I have to dismount, I got my horse with me all the time and what have you. There's another method that you can do, and I've seen it, I've tried it, but for me, it doesn't work. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't work, I'm saying for me, it doesn't work. And that is where you got your traditional hanger, but it's kind of crossed over here in the center, like here between the horse's eye, and then this would go, around the horse's ear, his ears being here. What it did for me is whenever I work my bosal, and you can see it already a little bit if you look at it this way, your bosal has the tendency to kind of come off the nose a little bit and then hit the nose again instead of just rolling over the nose. That's why I didn't like it. Other people probably do, and kudos to them. But again, for me and my way of riding, I didn't like it. It didn't work for me. So I think a hanger that does not restrict the action of your bosal is real important. Having a good Makati is real important. But then again, there are so many environmental factors that come into play, like moisture, like heat, what have you. Traditionally, of course, the good Makatis are made of horsehair. Nowadays, there are very good Makatis in mohair. I in the winter I use a nylon Makati, but I don't like the real limber, lifeless ones. But like I said, there it's a lot, I feel, about environmental conditions that you need to take into consideration. I think that's it for so far. So I wish you all a very nice day. If you like what I'm doing, please hit the subscribe button and like what I'm doing. And see y'all later.